everybody's here today because we are talking about breaking the mold, so unique methods to grow your brand. And as far as like why we pitched our different perspectives about the ways that we had grew it, it's mainly because for me, things weren't going the way that I was hoping to with my business, struggling, trying to find clients, also wanting to work with a large group of clients that really couldn't pay for my services. So a lot of small businesses would come to me for like graphic design work and different things, but they wasn't really paying the bills, so to speak, right? Because small businesses are limited in the funding that they have. So because of that, it really, like I wanted to help. I still wanted to help, right? I'm a big educator at heart. I care way too much, and I want to just help everybody, right? So for me, I found different methods outside of just traditional marketing that people consider like online, on social media, because you see that other people are doing it and, you know, they're making all this tons of money and stuff, but it doesn't always work like that for everybody. No matter how much they tell you, take their courses and this and that. So I really had to like just create my own method, my own way, carve it out, by doing some unique things in that way. And I found some things that was helpful to me that I wanted to share with you guys. But I don't want to take up too much time before I dive into what those were.
Sure. So along the same lines as Britt, I kind of was forced into digital marketing. You know, my business is called the Incubator LLC. So we work with small businesses, entrepreneurs to help them generate more revenue, implement systems and strategies, and of course we do the digital marketing, so website design, social media management, content creation. That's the bulk of what we do. And I mentioned I was forced into it. We started as an event space, so we had a 36 square foot building downtown Cleveland. It was going great, you know, events booked multiple months in advance. You know, I was 25 at the time. My business partner is younger than I was, and everything's going great. Long story short, our neighbors, they were doing some bad stuff. They got raided. It was this whole big thing. Everyone in the building got put out of the space, so like we lost everything. So we had to make a decision. Like, are we gonna close up shop? Are we gonna find a new building? What are we gonna do? So the digital marketing really, you know, that's how we got into it, really invested into personal branding, social media, went crazy with the content, and you know, I'm very happy that we lost our space because it forced me to pivot and get here. So happy to be here and ready to dive in if you're ready.
So, not sure if you guys are aware of the different avenues of connecting with potential clients outside of traditional ways that may be seen traditional you to somebody else that may be unique, right? For me, because I was having a hard time finding clients, I fell into working with government entities for small businesses. I still want to help small businesses, but not at the rate that I was going at the time, because I wasn't trying to work pennies on the dollar, right? So I actually pitched a unique idea to them because I became a certified vendor with my local city, and they kept saying, oh, you can get like, you know, contracts through us, we have things that need to be designed and whatnot. And long story short, if I'm not a construction company, I'm not getting a lot of those jobs, right? But I realized within that there was other small businesses, not per se like mine, but there were like nail salons and cleaning services and food vendors and all types of other niche businesses that became vendors with the city as well, and they were having the same issues that I was having. And they were depending on these contracts, thinking they were going to get these contracts with the city, but that wasn't a possibility, right? And in reality, they're not going to be making their bread and butter from them. But because I was hearing these concerns, an idea popped up in my head. I can help them understand how to use branding and website to still market their business outside of feeling like they need to try to get business to the city. Don't depend on the city to try to get contracts, because your business is there not just to serve them, but you have other people trying to serve as well. They were just one track minded, thinking that they could get business through them because they were sold, be certified with us, we'll help you get some contracts. So I was one of those people. Like, I was hoping to get a contract to the city, and it wasn't happening. I came up with an idea, and someone said, "Oh, you should pitch it to them." So I did, and I pitched it to them for maybe like 6 months, and then they finally gave me a contract to do like 3 workshops around simple things that I took for granted that small businesses had issues with. Design principles, right? Like line weights and shapes and colors and, you know, white space, different things of that nature. Or if it was branding, what is that? What does that mean for your business? And then simple things about websites, right? So that happened. And then the next thing, I was able to do consultations, and I just booked another contract with them this time around to do more workshops and more consultations for small businesses. To me, that was unique because, one, they didn't have that. So I had to pitch it to them myself. So I had to go on a limb to try to carve like a whole new niche for me and market that I didn't even think was there or possible. And it was outside of what I was traditionally doing, which was posting on social media, right? Posting on LinkedIn, which is still social media, but it's more like for, you know, professional, corporate, however they place it now.
It's like the business Instagram.
Yeah, you know, that's Instagram. You know, SEO, right? I'm doing all those things, but it wasn't working. Maybe I'm not using it right. I'm not just aware, but I had to figure something out to try to grow a business. So that was a unique way that I found to grow my business, and then that in turn got me in front of more businesses locally, and I wanted to try to work with local people, and that started to work. I started getting my name out there, and I was being paid to do it. Right? I was being paid to do it. Now I have leads, and for most of us, trying to get leads, right, is a difficult thing, especially trying to get a warm lead. You know, trying to get that going, or have a database. Then I realized, like, oh, they have a database of people I can like get access to because they're all on their vendor list, and then you become a part of that community, and now you got all of these people you can like reach out to, kind of thing. So, again, long story short, that's what happened with me as far as like a unique way to go growing my brand without having to rely on social media, SEO, struggling trying to get clients through online, which was making me more frustrated with myself, feeling like something's wrong with me, kind of thing. So that was a unique outside of the box thing that I did.
So, I'm the exact opposite. Social media has been my bread and butter. You know, I would say 95% of my clients come from my personal content or, you know, event speaking engagements. So I'm a huge advocate for social media. Some people may consider it unique. Some may consider it like a standard, like you have to be on there. But I would be to the latter. Like, I feel everyone should have an Instagram or social media in general, a personal and a business page. It's just another sales channel, basically. So, you know, I'm able to post my content on my personal page, have more of a human element, and then people go there. I can funnel them to my business page. They reach out to my personal. So actually my next step, like, I wanted to have it done before today, but it's just too much going on. I've already purchased CEOdesk.com. I'm gonna brand that out, put the courses on there, do like the, I guess, creative development for other creators and entrepreneurs, and still do, you know, my business, do the web design, all of that stuff. So again, how can I enhance the personal brand and funnel that to my business? And and that's kind of like that's my bread and butter. I love when I'm in these settings. Hey, what's your Instagram? What's your, like, I'm always connecting, I'm always networking, and that's just how I've been able to grow and grow the brand.
So I'm a big believer in examples, and I used to be a teacher, so I would do like this whole thing with I do, he do, you do thing. So we're sharing our stories and whatnot, so that way we can share some type of examples, right? So now we want to discuss and talk with you guys about, are there anything that you found that was a unique way that you was able to use maybe your website or your social media to connect with audience that you didn't think was like going to actually work the way that you thought it was? Like you did it, but you didn't intend for it to actually like turn into something else.
I touched on this last time, but with him, most of my sales come from, I do have business pages, but most of my sales come from my personal Instagram. And then I leverage that. Like I posted my lunchbox the other day, and like Arctic Zone like reposted it or whatever. And then I was like, hey, as you can see, I authentically love your product. We have an event coming up. Would you mind sponsoring? Gave me the email, contact address, and everything, and I leveraged that for my business. So I do agree with you, but I also agree with you because I feel it can be both. I feel it could be a B2C, and I feel like it can be a B2B, right? And I feel like if you have one business and you have those two streams of income, you have a better chance at survival. So I teach a Reels workshop at my studio, and that's more for business owners, entrepreneurs to create content to speak to their customers. So I think finding a way, you could do one or the other, but finding a way to marry both is also great as well.
I want to speak to a point. You weren't afraid to reach out to, well, they reached out to you, but that's a part of it. Like, I'm never going to be afraid. No company is too big. No client is too big. You have to value yourself and your brand and your work ethic that you belong wherever. Like, I can't even believe I'm here speaking at Squarespace. It happens. You put yourself out there, and you'll receive the benefits.
And I wanted to be transparent, that didn't come easy as well. I had to get over like imposter syndrome. I didn't go to school for business. My degree is in criminal justice. So believing in my product first, and like you said, like, if you think of everybody as a small fry, you like, let me jump in here right quick. So that as well, but yeah.
And has anybody ever gained business outside of doing things online? Like gained business in a way like, I don't even know how it happened, but it happened. Like, does anybody have like anything to share about that? Yes.
I joined a yoga studio to find clients. That's my
A
sole
yoga
mission.
studio?
I love it. Be a level person.
Could he elaborate? I'm interested.
I'm so interested.
I just went and they said, who needs a website? And I would just kind of show up. And I would go week after week. And that was my goal. It didn't work out super awesome, but because yoga people have no money. But I think it was like, I wanted to try it. It was mixed. But
Well, namaste.
Yeah, I have a similar story. I went to interview for a job at a yoga studio, and it was for like an admin position, and I was not qualified because I had never worked in a yoga studio. But then they hired me to make a website later.
Nice.
I've had former coworkers, and so I had a job where I was a senior manager. I had 3 direct reports, and then left that job, and then one of my direct reports became a marketing director, and then hired me to shoot his promo video for his company. So I've had that happen a few times.
Yeah. And you see how like those different experiences, like you went into something thinking one thing would happen, or you wasn't even intended for something to happen in that way, but ended up you're being used for that. And so even us being open, right, to the possibility of allowing, I want to say like more natural things that's happening with us, or situations and allowing that to explore the opportunities that you can have. Has there ever been a situation where you felt that there was an opportunity with a brand you want to work with, but you wasn't for sure like how to like make that opportunity happen all the time? Yeah.
I think that's a trial and error kind of thing too. You learn what works and what doesn't as well.
Yeah. So how many people love to shoot their shot?
Now.
Yeah.
Over imposter syndrome.
How long did that take you?
I want to say probably about like a year, and then once you realize, your funds I do have a brick and mortar, and once you're down to like that last 3 months, you gotta get over it quick, like quick. So.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too to keep in mind is the worst thing somebody could ever say is no.
Yeah.
So,
That part.
if you know that going into it, then I think that helps a lot. I'm like, okay, this is the worst thing to happen.
Yes.
So I work with a whole network of community organizers, and this was a kind of a different mix, right? So I just came from a training, 3 days of a training. They're still in for another 2 days, but talking about propositions and how you make asks and identifying self-interest and how you step into your power. And it's just interesting, like how that's like coming back, right? And so to this question is like, I think it's identifying. Like you think, oh, wouldn't it be great, right? Like we give power to entities, businesses, people, and we give this power, and so we feel like we're not enough. But I think, so that's one issue, right? But another part of it is like identifying what their self-interest is, and if you can align what you perceive or you find out their self-interest is, and aligning that with yours, and that's a match, then like you go for it. I think you can also, in that, if you find and you can't make that alignment, I think it's possible to discover. And when I was have my own business, I found this. Like I would think I wanted to be in business with somebody or to have them as a client, and then discover, no, I just dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
So, but this piece around like stepping into your power, I think, from the time we're born, because of the history of this country. Like there are these mixed narratives of like, oh, you can be anything you want to be, and then like you're also getting these messages like, well, stay there.
Yeah.
And those are compounding messages, and so no wonder it's like we're in this mental space within ourselves where it's like, can I want to, I'm going to shoot my shot, but I don't know, and sometimes like the first revolution's internal, right? Like, and so kind of getting through that piece and realizing like, oh, I'm sorry, but you would be lucky to have my friend here repping your Arctic cooler or whatever it was, right? So I mean, it's like that narrative. Like we think about the work that we do is often around narrative and messaging for others.
Yeah.
But sometimes like we have to disrupt our own status quo first, and that's daily work. That is not one and done.
Go ahead.
Also, I agree with you, Karen, because like for me, it's like to answer your question a little bit around pitching and talking to brands. Like for me, it's not even pitching. I think as a marketer, I feel like pitching is like comes with the game. So I'm always pitching and have relationships with brands and have done things. But then I realized like the realities of like nepotism come up, and like people are human beings. So they go with who they know. A lot of times it's not personal. It's just like, well, this person did this for me, so now I feel obligated. Like when you have power, how do you use it? That's really, that's really the question of the day for me. Is like when you have power, how do you use it? Because you could literally be in alignment. You can be the greatest thing that ever happens, and brands can still say no. And then it's just so strange where it's like, okay, you said no to me, fine. But then you worked with the lesser option, and it's like you didn't get the results you wanted, but this was all for show. So it's like there's a lot that goes into it politically, and as Karen was alluding to, like there's so much that goes on with it. So how do we, in this room, and according to your topic, how do we like push past that? Like who are the brands that we work with that are not doing that? You know what I mean?
I think in connection with everybody saying, it's having a lot of resilience to continue to push through all of that, right? because the traditional ways that we're told to grow our business doesn't always work. Like, it didn't work for me. You know, for whatever reason, it just wasn't working. Like, like I said earlier, you do the course, you do this, you do that, you're following all these ways, but then you're also too blocking opportunities because you're trying to follow some type of particular path. So one of the next questions I wanted to ask you all, and please enlighten me because I don't know it all, right? But what do you consider to be an unconventional approach to growing your brand outside of what you're told is traditional and marketing your business or like business strategies?
Talking to people.
Yes.
Like my guy with the yoga studio, was that a strict like plan? You're like, yo, I'm gonna go to this yoga studio, trying to get website clients.
Yeah, as a member of another studio, that was the sole purpose. But I guess I've tried other approaches being more aggressive, but they've not offered me the best. I've offered like unsolicited criticism as a way of like starting a conversation, and that's gone kind of like one or two ways, where I get kind of a polite thank you, or someone would get hired, but all the criticism I had originally was all still true, and I couldn't fix it.
Let's start back here.
Yeah, I'm a member of a 12-step program, and as a graphic designer, I've always hated all their literature and their website. It looked like it was the first website never created. So I volunteered to be on the team to help bring it into this century. And they liked my vision so much that they asked me to redo the website, and it's for the whole New York State. So what's been wonderful is the people that know, my friends who know that I did it, have been recommending me to their friends. The only problem is this program has thousands and thousands of people, but it's anonymous, so nobody knows that I did it.
So how are you promoting that you did it? Or are you able to?
I'm telling my friends to tell other people in the program.
You don't have like a portfolio website?
I don't. No, I mean, website design is kind of like my side hustle. So I've never put together a website, but I'm going to start telling people like, oh yeah, that was when people compliment the website. Oh, it's a good website. I'm like, I did that.
Are you on social media?
I am on social media.
It's a quick reel.
Huh?
Quick reel.
Well, the problem is it's anonymous. It's an anonymous program, so I can't like go out and share it like that.
Yes.
Might be unpopular, but I went to the strip club, right? So platforms like Instagram, you can't post adult content, right? But the way they funnel their clients is they post on those mediums to get them to the adult mediums. So come to my studio, you could shoot safe for work content, and you could use that to funnel through your event. And they ended up having a grand old event, all safe for work content, so they can use it on platforms that don't allow any kind of exposure or anything. And my studio didn't